Welcome all, Bernie here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the daily time frame. We still can get a little bit more downside here down to this 100 fib in this wave C. Really got to go down to the lower time frames to see if this wave C here is over. The way I'm seeing it now is, like I've mentioned before, we've lost all that bullish divergence in this wave 5. So I'm looking for a larger correction than these over here and another one down. So if you're looking to buy, it could be quite choppy for quite a while and you'd be buying into a correction. You can see how choppy this is here. Well, on the H1, we got that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. We got the bullish divergence. There was, we do have 3 up in here already with bearish divergence. So this may even, this could fall over at any time. I expect a larger correction. But yeah, it'd be risky to sell at this stage too, because, if I just quickly go back to the H4, this size correction is around the same size. I'm looking for a larger correction than this. So yeah, I'd give it a bit more time. And if you're looking for the buys, just be careful. So AU, I'm looking for this C up to this 100 fib possibly. On the H4, we got a nice impulse from the low, and we did get a correction in here to buy. It's on the lower time frame, but I was looking for a correction, back to the 50 fib, a nice correction in here. It wasn't a very large correction, but if I go down to the H1, you'll see that we did get a nice correction in there. It was very sideways, and it has gone up and broken the top now. So, again, it's going to be very difficult to actually get in this now, because if I quickly go down to the lower time frame, we're looking at like 1, 2, 3. So you got to wait for a wave 4, and you could scalp a wave 5 up. I dare, we may get a ball hidden in here, and you get a 5th one up. At this stage, it's really scalping because, like I mentioned on the H1, we've already broken the top, and there's, we're getting that bearish divergence, so you got to be careful. GU on the daily, looking for this C up, possibly up to that 100 fib. We haven't broken this. We've broken this top over here, but we haven't broken this ending point of this wave B here. So I would like to see a little bit more upside. It's very similar. Sorry, it's not similar to the AU, but we had the 5 up here on the H4, and we got an impulse down. I'm not looking at that as all the correction after this 5 up. So, and then we got an impulse up. We got an impulse up here, and we're getting some sort of a flat in here. So we may get another one up in here, like for an A, B, C, and then an A, B, C, get some sort of a running flat in here before we get another 5 up. We don't have any bearish divergence here. So on the H1, sorry, We got the 5 up here. We got an impulse down. We got what, sort of 1, 2, 3 breaking the top. We're getting the impulse down in here. So I'm looking at this as an A, B, C, and then possibly more upside. You'd want a nice entry on this to get in, because yeah, not really liking it. Me personally, I'd be staying out of it. But yeah, if this is a flat here, you may get a buy set up to go up and break the top. But as for the sells, it's looking very corrective in here still. We are starting to get bullish divergence. So you may get a buy set up for the sell. It's a bit risky at this stage, but yeah. EU on the daily, we got that A, B, C up. It's broken the ending point of that wave A. There's still possibly more upside in this. This one here is similar to AU on the H4. We got the 5 up and we lost all the bullish divergence there. So I'm looking for a larger correction, possibly down to this 50 fib. We don't know what sort of correction we're going to get in here, but I'm looking for a larger correction than this here and this here. Over here, and then I'd be looking for another 5 up, possibly up to this 100 fib here. So again, there's really not much on it. Very difficult to sell this too now because we already have 3 down with bullish divergence. It tried to go here, it never went. So I dare say on the lower time frame, there's possibly a bear hidden there, or it's actually a bull hidden. On the M15, at this stage, we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting a bull hidden here, so this may go up and break that top, this top here. If price does come down and break this low here, and you get a correction, you could look for a sell. But yeah, it's pretty much just scalping. Unfortunately, there's not really long-term trades at this stage. NU, looking for this C up, A, B, C up to possibly this 100 fib. This one's looking rather nice. We got a really nice impulse from the low, and we got a correction in here. So if you're already on this, as soon as it breaks this top, I'd be moving to break even. But yeah, I was looking for a little bit larger correction, possibly down to this 50 fib. But we have broken out here. So this is ideal. We got bullish divergence in here. We got a nice impulse up. So if you get a correction in here, I'd be looking for the buy. This is one of the better pairs I'm looking at next week to buy this. GY on the daily. We've been looking at this like A, B, C here, flat here. And then we've got an A, B, C here. So I'm looking for that like A, B, C up. Before we get more downside, if I just go back, and then I'm looking for, another one up in here for that A, B, C, and then I'm looking for that larger A, B, C. This was quite difficult because, we got a contracting flat in here. So we've got like 1, 2, we're still in a wave 3, wait for a wave 4. More than likely, we'll get a bull hidden in here. And then you look for that wave 5 up. Yeah, there was a nice buy in there if anyone took it. Again, this is quite choppy, so yeah, be careful trading it for sure. Yes, other than that, I mean, you could look for a buy for a scalp just to go and break that top. We do have a bull hidden here, so there may be something on the lower time frames to buy. I mean, shouldn't really go down to the lower time frames, but I'll have a quick look on the M5. The M5 here, I mean, this is a bear hidden, so yeah, it's not giving a buy setup. It's more bearish to come and break this low, and then it possibly could take off with that bull hidden. UY, we got this nice impulse down. We had these 3 up. I would really like to see this come down and break this ending point of this wave A here. It hasn't done that yet. I don't believe it has. Yeah, no, it hasn't broken the low. So I am looking for that low to be broken. H4 looks like we're getting 5 up in here. Well, if I go back to last week, like I mentioned last week, like many of the other pairs, we lost all the bullish divergence in here. So I'm just looking for a larger correction, possibly bouncing off the trend line and then giving us a lower low. So, pretty risky to buy. On the H1, it's a wave 3. So we've got a 1, 2, 3. We're starting to get a wave 4 now. And then I'd be looking for, wave 4 and a wave 5 up. In here, though, there's a couple of scenarios here, what sort of correction we're going to get in this wave 4. So we could get a correction in here and get 3 up. May or may not go and break that top. If we get 3 up in here and it does go and break that top, well, I'd be looking at a running or expanding flat, and we'd get a C down as a running or expanding flat. If we get a correction in here and it doesn't go and break that top, well, I'll be looking for, just a regular flat just to go and break that low and then more upside. But, there is another scenario here. We get an impulse down and a correction in here, and we get 3 down in here, like an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B, C before we get an A, B, C, and then we get more upside. So we really got to watch what's happening in here on the lower time frames to see if it gives us a buy or it falls over here and gives us a scalp sell. You know, so yeah, at this stage, you know, we don't know what sort of correction it's going to be, but we have a time factor here. So I'd like to see that same time factor over here before we look for another buy. That should keep you out of a bit of trouble. You know, if you're waiting for this time factor, a similar size correction to this one over here, well, you know, it'll, unless you're going to scalp it, you know, in a correction, you know, the safest way is to wait for this to be over and then see if it's a complete structure, corrective structure, and then you could look for a buy. USD CAD. We got 1, 2, 3 up in here. I'm looking for that time factor in the wave 4 before I look for a wave 5 up. On the H4, we sort of got an impulse, and this is, you know, quite choppy here. I mean, it has, this wave in here, if you're looking at it as a B wave, has gone a little bit too far for a running or expanding flat. I usually look for the 161.8 of this. The fib extension, 161.8 pip of this move here, the extension, and this has clearly gone past the 161.8. If I quickly show you what I mean there, so I'm looking for the 161.8, and as you can see, prices come back below this, usually for a running or expanding flat. I don't really like to see, you know, this B wave go past a 161.8, and this one clearly has, as you can see here. It's still possible that this is an A, a B, and a C, and we get a flat in here. But yeah, it has gone a little bit far. But you know, I'm still looking for this upside in here. Whether it goes up and breaks the top, I doubt it. But you could start to look for buys in here for sure. The H1, we got all this bullish divergence. There's no actual buy set up on it yet, though. At this stage, I'm not sure if you can see, but we did get across on the MACD here. There's a little dot there. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it on YouTube or not, but so at this stage we have a bear hidden, you know, until that top's broken. So there's two scenarios here. You know, this either gives you a sell setup and you scalp one down to break this low, or price continues up here, breaking this top here and taking out that possible bear hidden. And then we get a correction here. If you get a correction here after breaking this top here, well, then you could look for a buy. And I'd be looking for the 100 fib of this here. If I put this on. This off now. So I'd be looking at the 100 fib here. As your target for the buy. USD Swiss franc, we got this A, B, and C. We got a running triangle in here. We got an a B, C, D, E, and then fell over and broke the low. There is still possible more downside down to this 100 pip here. This is more bearish. This is still very much bearish. Like many of the other pairs on the H-ball, we've lost all the bullish divergence, so I'm just expecting a correction in here and more downside to go and break that low. So be very careful with the buys, and it may even be, well, as you can see here, I was looking for a C up here, like an A, a B, and a C. It only just broke the ending point of that wave A over here in that C wave, and it's sort of fallen over. This may turn into a more complex correction, though. You know, this may be like the A, B, C here, and then we get an A, B, C. So, yeah, just be mindful if you are buying this, you're more than likely buying into a correction to go and break the low. There really isn't a sell setup on it either. That's the problem. Because we didn't get a higher high here, you know, that's a high there. We didn't get a higher high over here. It's a lower high. So it's very difficult to sell. We to go down onto the M15, but yeah, I mean, I would be staying out of it for the time being. This one didn't go. Like I was looking at here, this A, B, C in here. This one didn't go. It was very slow. If anything, it's bearish. Yeah, we sort of got three up in here. This low here has been broken in this wave down, so you know, sort of be looking for downside, but it's not a very good setup at all to trade either way, in my opinion, at this stage. EG, on the daily, I'm looking at that 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth wave up. We may be getting an extended wave in here on the H4, and we get that wave 5 up like I've been mentioning. Looking at that 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth wave up here. Not sure if there's any setups on it to buy. Hopefully this come from a low, and it looks like it did. It's not the best. I mean, this is more like 1, 2, 3. We'll get a wave 4 in here and a wave 5. If I just go down to the M15 quickly, you'll see it a lot better. Yeah. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we may get a correction in here and another one down, just breaking that low. We have a bull hidden here. So it's more bullish. So if you get if this looks choppy and here looks like a correction, be very careful selling it. You can sell it, but you definitely want to be at break even at the break of this low here, because like I just mentioned, it may just come down, just break that low, and then shoot up and break the top, and that bull hidden plays out. And we get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. You can trade that wave 5 up. The invalidation point for the hidden divergence is this low here. So you know, if this does come down in 3 waves and breaks that low there, well, you know, it's taken out that hidden divergence for the buy. But overall, I'd be still looking for bull. I'd still be looking for that wave 5 up on the H4. We're getting a lot of bullish divergence in here, so you may get an opportunity here. I mean, this was your opportunity to buy. It didn't go as far as I thought it would, but if you get 3 down in here, you may get a buy set up in here somewhere on the lower time frames to buy with that bull hidden. WTI, so I'm looking at that A, B, C, and an A, B, C in here. We got an A, B, C here on the daily. So I'm really going down to the lower time frames, looking for this C up in here. The H4, I'm still looking for a possible wave 4 here. Looking at that 1, 2, 3, and get a wave 4. I'm waiting for this time factor here, like I've mentioned for the last couple of weeks, and then look for that wave 5 down to finish off this C wave. On the H1, you could actually look for a buy here at this stage. Looking for an A, B, C, then we get that A, B, C up. Like I mentioned, this may turn, like give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here, or a complex correction, W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up as a complex correction, and then fall over. We're looking for a correction a similar size to that over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does turn more complex. But at this stage, you could look for a buy. It's more bullish. Or is it? Yeah, I would be keeping out of it. It's quite risky at this stage. And the reason I say that is because, we have a possible bear hidden here. So you still could look for a buy, but you'd want a really nice setup and keep short stops, short stop loss. Because yeah, with that bear hidden, it possibly can come down and break that low. Take a look at gold on the daily. It's right up the top of the wave 3. We got 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for that wave 4, and then you can trade that wave 5 up. H4, there's like we got no bearish divergence. We don't actually have a bull hidden here. We did have a bull hidden over here. If you remember in here, we had that, and I said be careful because we got a bull hidden there. That, well, it went further than I thought it would have, but it did go and break this top. And we lost all the bullish divergence. I think on the H, I mean, we're right, like I mentioned, we're right at the end of that wave 3 on the daily. So you got to be very careful with this buying. But, if you were looking to scalp, we do have 3 down in here on the H1 with bullish divergence. So technically, if you got a nice setup, you could look to buy, but I'd want a really nice setup to buy this, because right at the end of the wave 3 on the daily, it's not giving a very nice setup. We got the 3 down, that's fine. It's sticking within this trend line. It's having trouble getting price to get through this trend line. So again, it's not very nice. For what I would expect after 3 down is a nice impulse up and a nice correction, and then look to buy. As you can see, this didn't do that. It's yeah. I don't think it has a bear hidden there, does it? It does actually have a bear hidden in here too. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this low does get broken. Ideally for trading, because we do have that bear hidden there on the M15, I'd like to see this low here get broken, giving us that bullish divergence, and then a nice impulse up, breaking this top, giving us a nice correction in here, and then you could look to buy. Yeah. Silver, got to be very careful here, but I'll go over it again. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, got up to the first target. Then we got that 1, 2, 3 in here, 1, 2, 3 up. I was looking for 3 or 5 down in here. It just gave an impulse, but that's fine. But this is more on the H4 that we have to be very careful. Like I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, we have a bear hidden here. We have an impulse down and a bear hidden. So even if the bear hidden doesn't play out and go and break this low, I expect to see a very deep correction in here, back to the 90 fib of this, So be very patient before you look for a buy. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the bear hidden doesn't play out. And so there's a couple of scenarios here. We get an A and this turns into a B. The bear hidden doesn't play out and break that low, and we get a C up in here, and then we get an A, B, C. Or the bear hidden plays out, breaks that low, and then more than likely it will give us divergence there, and we may get a buy after that. But yeah, be very careful with the buys in here, because like I just mentioned, we have a possible bear hidden there. The H1, we got bearish divergence in here between the two tops, so that's fine. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd be looking for a 5th one down in here. And we'll see how far this one goes. Like I said, I'm looking for a possibly very deep correction, if not breaking the low. So be patient with this one, I think. Bitcoin, we had a couple of opportunities to buy this, but on the daily we had the 5 up. If I go down to the lower time frame, we got the bullish divergence. On the lower time frame, we sort of got like 5 up in here. Then we got this correction, and this is if you go back, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, you'll see the weekly outlook where we had this to buy. It was on the weekly outlook too. So most people that trade this would be already on this. We got a nice impulse up. So on the H4, I'd be starting to look for a correction, and then like 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C. H1, we're getting all that bearish divergence. So getting that bearish divergence up the top here. So you have to be very careful with the buys now. You may get a sell on it. I'll just have a look. The M15. we did come down and break this low in this wave in here. It's definitely not the best setup, but because this can be like 1, 2, 3 breaking the top, and A, B, C running flat, and you get like 1, 2, 3. So it really depends on the lower time frames. You're pretty much just scalping. I mean, I'm already on the M15, so yeah, you could look for a buy if you got a nice impulse up in here and a little correction. You could look to buy to go and break the top. Well, this one over here, the ending point of this wave A. Yeah, it's really just scalping at this stage. There's a couple of different scenarios on S&P 500 for a long time. You know, we're getting a lot of bearish divergence in here, and finally it fell over. I was looking for a correction in here for like A, B, C. Well, this is looking rather impulsive here, so this may turn into a larger correction or go and break the top. There's a couple of different, there's quite a few different scenarios here. I'll just go over a couple because like this may give us a correction in here and another one up. May or may not go and break that low, high, sorry. And then we get like an A, a B, and a C before we get more upside. Or like I showed on one of the other pairs, we may get an impulse down in here and a sell, and then you get an A, a B, a C, and then you get an A, B, C. On the H4, you can see I was looking for a wave 5 down. Well, if this top here gets broken, that wave 2, well, that invalidates that wave 5 down, and it's nearly done that. And this is a much larger correction than this wave 2, so it's still possible to get downside, but I wouldn't be looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now, because this correction's a lot larger. It's more of a possibly a complex correction, like an A, B, C, A, B, C, and a 335 or a 333 complex correction. So really not much you can do with this. It's sort of, we're getting bearish divergence in here in this wave up. So, be very careful, because like I just showed, we can get 5 down in here or 3 down in here breaking this low, and we get a complex correction. So yeah, I'd be very careful buying this at this stage. AU 200, quickly go to the weekly. See that I was looking for like an A. We got an A, a B, and I was looking for this as a C in here, and then go up and break the top as a flat. So I was looking for this in here. It didn't really go far enough. And this may be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here too, with the bulk hidden there. So It's definitely very impulsive, but you can't just jump in at the top. You know, I wouldn't be buying in here. We need to wait for a little correction in here, a correction on the lower time frame before we can buy. H4, we got a nice impulse up. So, you know, I'll be looking for a correction, and then, you know, we may get 5 up here or 3 up. I need to wait for this correction though, and then we get a nice trade out of it. Till that happens, you know, very risky to be buying up here. We're getting all that bearish divergence in here, so, you know, it's something that I wouldn't do, like buying up the top. Really need to wait for that correction, and then we can assess what's going on. I'd be looking for, you know, 50 fib retrace. May only get back to the 38.2. But I'd like to see a correction in there before I'd attempt to buy, especially at this stage. Yeah, most of the indices done the same thing. You know, we had that bearish divergence. I was, you know, looking for. Well, this was a very sharp move down, but it's gone straight back up. So at this stage, you have to be very careful. I think I mentioned this last week. You know, we have a bear hidden here, so until this top here gets broken, it's very dangerous to buy, especially up here, because this can come down and break that low with that bear hidden present. There's no bullish divergence in here, so this can give you another one down. Very similar to AU200. You know, there's no way I'd be, with all this bearish divergence in here, you know, I wouldn't be looking to buy up here. You know, you'd either be waiting for a larger correction in here and then look for a buy, or ideally you get an impulse down, a correction, and you could look for a sell. It may just be 3 down, but that bear hidden may play out and go and break the low. So if you get something like this, impulse down and a correction, might be worth taking the sell, because like I mentioned, it may go and break that low with that bear hidden. Ideally, this is what I'd be looking for. You know, impulse down, correction, and then at least a C down, with the potential to go and break that low with the bear hidden. Lastly, we'll take a look at the DAX. This one was a little bit different to the others. The other indices, like I've gone over quite a few times, you know, we had that bull hidden here. So this one could have gone and broken that top quite easily, and that's pretty much what's happened. You know, you're either in this or you're not. There's no, you know, you're not buying up here. You're either in this to go and break that top with that bull hidden that I've been mentioning for, you know, ever since we had this big move down. I've been mentioning, you know, we had that bull hidden there, and this one has really taken off, and these tops will be broken, I dare say, in possibly next week. So yeah, there's really not much you can do with this at this stage. So enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.